UFC. What's the next big night?
Stylebender versus Paulo Costa, and that's in UFC Fight Island.
In Abu Dhabi?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ! Why don't they just do? Why do they do Abu Dhabi and not just keep it in Vegas?
For the international fighters, so they don't have to fly all the way to Vegas. Because like Stylebender, Israel is in New Zealand. He flies there. It's an easier flight. For Paulo Costa, Brazil, it's easier there. So
who do you got in that fight?
Israel. I think it's a perfect fight for him.
He could do his shit.
Yeah. He does well against aggressive guys. But UFC's popping, dude.
Popping.
Yeah, fights all the time.
Shit's
big
like,
fights. Then you got the Dana White Contender Series.
It's good.
During the week. Like, they're crushing it, man.
Are you watching the Contender Series?
yeah.
I haven't been watching it.
It's good.
Why is it good?
Because were you an Ultimate Fighter fan?
Yes.
So if you like if you're an actual hardcore fan, it's just like these guys are legit fighters. Like I think last night there's this Russian dude versus Brazilian dude. The Russian dude was like 14-0. The Brazilian dude's 15-0, and they're fighting for a UFC contract that night. So these boys come to fight.
They're like fighting.
And there's no. It's not like where the Ultimate Fighter. There's a buildup of characters. Guys weren't very good. They were just entertaining.
That's how you were. I found you.
Yeah, but these guys are like fighting.
They're coming to fight.
Because if they win that fight, they get a contract that night. Dana goes, "Yeah, here's the contract." So these boys are scrapped.
I have to watch it. How many?
And they also have like who's the girl that I like?
Laura Sanko.
Awesome. She's like she comes into the ring, but she also does commentary. Like she's like an MVP of that thing. She's a beast.
Okay.
So I'm hoping they take her and implant her into the actual UFC production.
This chick right here,
beast.
She can fight.
She was a fighter too.
She was a fighter, but she's a commentator now.
Okay.
And she's by far, I think, the MVP of the Contender Series.
Okay.
Because the whole production thing is really good, but she's like one of the best things.
That's
that they
dope.
have.
And what about my man Khabib? Like, if you're a fighter, and how old is Khabib?
30. What is he? 32.
Don't you,
31?
as a fighter,
31.
like think like I need to fight?
32.
It's been how long has it been since he fucking beat the shit out of Conor McGregor? It's been almost 2 years.
2 years?
Well, he's fought. No, not that.
It's over a year.
Let's see.
It's like
over a year.
It's year and it's like
he fought Dustin Poirier, right? September 2019.
That was his last fight. Right.
Dustin
Okay.
Poirier in
Right.
Abu Dhabi.
I forgot
But then
that.
his father passed away,
Okay.
which was a big deal.
And he had that one fight that got canceled with
Tony Ferguson,
right.
which was multiple times.
Right.
Another issue.
That was a
But
COVID thing, right?
yeah.
Right. Okay.
And then now he's
But
fighting.
don't you get antsy? Wouldn't you be antsy to fight? How do you
If
keep
I'm
yourself?
him, yeah.
How do you keep yourself like fight ready? Because
But these guys.
it's not like you could practice. Can you practice?
No, but you can never.
You can stay in shape, right?
Yeah, but he also So Ramadan, right? He's super into his religion, so the Muslim religion. So Ramadan, so he can't fight during that time, which is August, I think. And then his father passed away, so he's dealing with that. He promised he only has 2 fights left. He wants to retire at 30-0. He's 28-0 now. So then he has this. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Ramadan's April 12th to.
You don't want to fuck that up.
No. Do not
Get that
trust me,
correct. Get it right.
So, he has a lot of other X factors going on, but his father passed away is the biggest deal.
Okay.
But then also, I think they're going to maybe do it at the Apex Center in Vegas, but when they do fight, when he fights Justin Gaethje, stylistically, it's his toughest test to date.
Why?
Gaethje's just a motherfucker. Heavy-handed, great wrestling, great cardio, can go all 5 rounds. Just beat the brakes off Tony Ferguson.
Right.
Beat the shit out of him.
Right.
And then, and he's more active. So, it's a tough fight for Khabib, man. And then already, how the fucking fans work. Like, oh, Khabib versus GSP. It's like, dude, he has to get through this.
GSP. Leave it alone.
I know.
GSP needs to leave it alone.
I know. It's crazy.
Leave it. Why would he? Is he not having money?
He has money.
Then why are you still fighting? He doesn't look right.
And he's 39, and he'd have to cut to 55.
Why?
Chill out.
You're done.
You think?
You should be done. He should be done. He don't look right. Like he gets when he was young, he would be.
He grew his hair out.
No, but I'm saying like one of the last 2 fights he had. I mean, he was in there like I'm like you're supposed to be.
He looked thick against Michael Bisping.
It wasn't good.
No, didn't look like. I think if he were to cut to 55, it'd be a problem for him, especially fight Khabib at 55.
No,
it's just a bad idea.
Don't do that. And Conor says he's done.
No, well, you know how Conor is. He'll if Gaethje wins, I bet they do Conor Gaethje because it's a better matchup for Conor.
He doesn't want Khabib.
It's a tougher fight, but he does want. That's all he's holding out for is the winner of Khabib Gaethje. that he's like, I'm going to fight when they
Khabib
give me that
fucked
fight.
him up.
Yeah.
He fucked him up.
He did and he didn't. If you look at the
How
fight.
so?
Because, like, you know, if you're a balls deep Conor fan, which I am, like, he he really didn't train. His takedown defense.
Conor didn't train? Mm-mm. Well, whose fault is that?
Well,
You're fighting a guy.
But it's his, but imagine him with a full camp. But also, his takedown defense was pretty fucking good.
Yes. I mean, he's sick. But when
So
he
if
had
you
him
give
in
him a
that
full
motherfucking
camp-
bear claw.
Oh, I know. But you give him a full camp, like, there's hope. If you're a Conor
there's
fan.
always hope.
But there's hope if Gaethje were to beat Khabib. Gaethje does not partake in takedowns. Doesn't want to do it. Doesn't take anybody down. He'll sit and trade with Conor. That's what Conor fucking lives for. So if you're a Conor fan, you want him to get the belt. The easiest pathway, which isn't easy, but if you're a Conor fan, would be if Gaethje were to win.
And
Then
what
you get Conor Gaethje?
And what about Jones? Isn't he fighting?
Heavyweight. He's going to go up to heavyweight.
Who's he going to fight?
He'll fight Stipe right away. So I bet he waits till Stipe and Francis fight and he'll fight the winner of that.
Stipe is the guy who just beat DC, right?
Yes.
Now, I said something that people got so fucking offended. I want to throw this
I
at
can't
you.
wait.
I said, because Joe Rogan and the UFC, and we've been talking about this since I first came on the show. I said about Ronda Rousey. I said, how can you say anyone's the greatest of all time?
That's what we do.
The greatest of all time. And she's literally never taken a punch. And as soon as she took a punch, the first time Ronda got punched, done.
Game over.
Okay, now people say DC, the greatest of all time. The greatest of all time.
Well, choose your words carefully.
Now,
here.
let me choose my words.
You're in Sparta. Choose your words carefully. I will kick it. I just had DC on my show. That's my guy.
I fuck
Old
with DC.
training partners.
I fuck with DC. But he's lost big fights.
But he's won big fights.
I know, but then you can. How could you say the greatest of all time? You could say one of. If you say one of, I'm cool with it.
Well, they should say one of.
They don't. They say, and
that's
tonight
anything.
will be.
But that's like LeBron. Though.
But they'll say Stipe, like they were, like the Rogan said before
They were
the
fighting
fight.
for greatest heavyweight of all time.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, so is Stipe the greatest heavyweight of all time?
Now he is.
But no, he's the champion.
No, he's the greatest of all time.
Is he?
Look, yeah. Well, here, let me educate you on DC for a second. So let me do you a favor.
I said that he's one of.
Yeah, but what he was fighting for, if he were to beat Stipe, he would ride off in the sense that is the greatest to ever do it. Because
But after the last loss, when he got fucking the shit knocked out of him, it's like.
But he was winning all the rounds, then made a mistake.
Ploop.
But before that, he knocked him out.
I was
so
watching.
So they were 1-1.
I got it.
And then
he didn't fight him again.
No, not
he didn't.
then.
What was that dude's name?
Who?
The dude who knocked him out.
Who knocked who out?
Who knocked out DC?
John Jones.
No.
He's only lost to John Jones and Stipe.
John Jones twice. We don't know what he was on or not on, allegedly, because Jones.
But he lost those fights.
I don't know why
John's the greatest of all time.
That's what I'm saying.
And then when John goes to heavyweight, he'll be the greatest of all time.
That's what
Nobody's
I'm saying.
beating John Jones.
So why like
because John hasn't gotten a heavyweight yet. But as of right now for heavyweight, you gotta realize DC was a light heavyweight his entire career. Fought in the Strike Force Grand Prix, fought the best of the best, won that, and was the biggest underdog. Beat Josh Barnett, Bigfoot Silva, beat the fuck out of these dudes. Goes to the UFC as a heavyweight, beats Frank Mir, beats Roy Jones, then goes to light heavyweight, becomes champion at light heavyweight, beats everybody not named John Jones, right? Beat Gus Finn, beat all these guys, Anthony Rumble Johnson, and then goes to heavyweight, knocks out Stipe,
right?
Gets the belt, and then fights him twice and loses. But it's always tough.
I just don't like that. The greatest of all time.
Everything should be one of.
I agree. Unless there's
you agree that in basketball too.
It's hard to see. Yes, see, it's a team sport. So you're saying like Floyd Mayweather, motherfucker's 49. You could say, I mean, in his division, he's the greatest of all time. Whether you like him or not, all that shit, personality, all that shit. But I'm just saying, like, in his division, now you say, oh, could he fight Muhammad Ali? Like, I'm not talking to you.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
You're stupid.
Yeah, I hate
you.
That.
Sound stupid.
There's nothing worse.
You sound dumb. But you know, like with individual sports, I think you can say it. You can't argue a heavyweight versus a flyweight.
But if you're arguing heavyweight, this is where the argument gets weird, because if you go Stipe is the greatest of all time, it's like, well, hold on, because stylistically, Cain Velasquez, when he was in his prime, would give Stipe all the problems. To me, if they went, you got to pick one guy that would beat anybody in the world, and they're both.
Who would you say is a
Cain
heavyweight?
Velasquez
Is that
the greatest we've ever seen?
Okay, so that's what I'm talking about.
And if you talk to DC, who came up with Cain, they're training partners, and they're both heavyweights, he would say Cain Velasquez.
That's what I'm talking. I just don't like that the greatest where they're fighting for
in fighting is
because nobody's saying it about Stipe
but
now.
It sells pay-per-views.
I understand it. So you used to train with DC?
Yeah, and Stipe. both of them.
Jesus Christ! It's like what? Like wrestling?
Everything.
Like what would you do? Punch?
Like spar, wrestle.
Like do what?
Yeah.
Like what?
All
Like
right,
what?
chill out.
Like you do what?
You know, just train together.
You train like you run, you roll around.
Yeah. But here's what's interesting about
And
basketball.
you're on him, and he's on you.
Yeah. I'm getting into it, dude. When I get off stage at the Laugh Factory, right away you go, bro, I figure out what you look like. I'm like, what? This is in front of a bunch of other comics. I'm like, what? You're like, you look like a Rottweiler who got his shit together.
Oh, you do, bro. Yeah.
Come on, man.
I'm just saying, dude.
Grab that mic, son.
You do. Look, bro, look.